There's two ways you can grow your sales team. One is recruit other agents that are already established who work at other businesses, or two, you can don't focus on too many things. I see that mistake. Agents trying to start a rent roll, they're trying to sell, they get busy doing rental work. Having the vision of what type of business that you want to grow is the first thing. We'd made about $500,000 in the first 6 months out of sales and settlements. We started to build up a bit of a bank account, and that's what you want to do. You want to build the company bank account to a point where agents, welcome to the Get Keen podcast, your number one destination for learning how to get the most out of your real estate career. I'm Dan Lee, founder of Plum Property, one of Queensland's largest independent real estate offices, and Plum Partners, where we've helped dozens of agents create, run and grow their very own agencies. On Get Keen, I chat to high-performing agents, principals, and agency owners, so you have the tools, strategies, and insights to grow your business and live the best life for yourself and your family. Now let's get keen. Hey guys and girls, welcome to the Get Keen podcast with Dan Lee. Today, I'm going to take you on a deep dive back into the day, right? I want to let you know some sort of blockages of time in my business career, you could say, and what it took to grow my agency from my apartment. Where I am today is I have three main businesses. I have Plum Property, my sales division. I have a rent roll that is over 800, and I have another business called Plum Partners. Of course, there are other shareholders in those businesses, but it's come a long way in 8 years from right back to the roots, which was just little old me in my little old apartment back in 2016. And I want to take you through the steps that it took to grow my mini empire, which my vision is a lot bigger than it is now, and I'm certainly not satisfied with where I am. But I think a lot of agents or aspiring business owners may look at where I've gone and go, wow, what does it take to get there? So that's what I want to share with you today, is what it did take and the steps that I took to grow my businesses to this size. So I'll take you back, 2016, I was a selling agent for another agency, and I decided to start my own business. When I started my own business, I think the first thing in order to have growth is to actually have that vision for yourself and your business. And I often find that when I'm talking to other agents about starting their own business, because that's what I do now, I help other agents start their own business. Often I ask, where do you see your business in 5 years' time? And a lot of them sit there with blank faces and they don't even know, they haven't even thought about it. All they're thinking is, I want to go and start my own business, but they don't even really know why. They don't really have a vision of what they want to create. They just have the idea that they want to start their own business. And so I think one thing that's really important is to actually have that vision in your head about where do you want this to go? And for me, I always wanted to have an agency that was not all about me, where I was a leader, but I was there to help the other amazing people that work within the company to perform really well. And the whole business didn't just rely on me making money, because that's what the business is in the beginning. And I'll go back to that because there was a period of time when that was the case. But the vision, I remember it clearly. And I always remembered it as a child. Like I always wanted to be a business owner, and I always imagined myself leading a big group of people and, recruiting. And I had this vision of sort of building an empire. So in my head, when I started my business, even though it was just me at the time, my vision was, I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't know where it's going to take me, but I know it's going to be big, right? So the vision was big right from the start. And it doesn't have to be, right? If you're starting an agent, you might just want to just be a really, really high performance sales principal and make heaps of money with your little sales team and not go any bigger than that in terms of the amount of employees and things. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. And you can make really good profit doing that. But if that's what you want, you should have that vision too, right? Like, I don't want the big thing. I want a small business that absolutely crushes. Because if that's what you want, then you'll be focused on like making sure that that team is so tight that you have the best people, that you're so selective about who's on your team. You'll be hyper focused on the little nuances of your business. You'll be super talented at like specific things, and you won't be thinking more broadly all the time. And that will be good for you. So having the vision of what type of business that you want to grow is the first thing, right? So let me take you back to the start. We started the business. I had the vision of the big business, but it's just me, right? I had an apartment, right? And I had a laptop and an internet connection and an unlimited phone plan, because that's how I was going to make money. Now, when I start my business, I just need to make money, right? I need to keep costs low, which is why I rented out my apartment through the business from myself through the business. And my business partner, Dylan, he came on board as well. And we said to each other, like, let's start a rent roll, but first of all, let's just get some sales going. And I was just hyper focused on sales. I wasn't thinking about recruiting. I wasn't thinking about growing the rent roll. I wasn't thinking about growing a big team yet. I just needed to make money. And I knew how to make money, like as a real estate agent. So I just focused on that. For 6 months, that's all I did. And I had a brand new brand, Plum Property. No one had ever heard of it. It's kind of a silly name. It's just me. You know, how much impact can I have? Well, as much impact as I can possibly make. And you know what? I just did what I knew best, and that was to focus on my area and make sure every single person knew that Dan Lee had gone and started his own business, and all my past clients, all the buyers that had ever run into me, anyone I'd done an appraisal for, anyone I'd sold a property to, anyone that I'd sold a property for, friends, family, and the entire neighborhood needed to know Dan Lee started his own business called Plum Property, and this is what I do. And so for 6 months, I just was hardcore doing that. And when I say hardcore, I mean every single day. It was without negotiation, at least 3 o'clock till 7 o'clock or 2 o'clock till 6 o'clock. So I did a 4-hour window every single day, Monday to Friday for 6 months. I did 4 hours of hardcore, like, calling, making calls during the day as well. But this was like a specifically blocked out period of just calling, like street to street, person to person, client to client, reintroducing myself, reestablishing old relationships, giving out as much information, price updates, property information to as many people. I just wanted to make sure I was on the phone connecting with local people in my local area all the time, because I know that that gets business as a real estate agent, and that's what I was focused on. Now, on top of that, I did marketing, I did Facebook ads, I did letterbox drops, I did all the other classic stuff. But I made sure that I did that 4-hour block every single day. And it was hard. I made it fun. I like calls. I like talking to people. And I think that's an advantage that I have, is I just grow to love prospecting. Going back to my vision as well, I thought I should probably mention this, but I had a goal that if I was going to start a business, I don't always want to be a sales agent. And not that I don't like selling or being a sales agent. I love it. And I'm not a sales agent now, and I miss parts of it actually. But I'm just one of those guys that always wants to keep improving and doing different things. I just don't want to do the same thing forever. And not that there's anything wrong with being an agent for 20, 30, 40 years. Absolutely not. And you can have a very lucrative, successful career doing so. It just isn't for me to keep doing that forever. So I always knew that in order to stop selling houses, I have to grow a business that could sustain a salary for me, and for me to be able to find other ways to add value to my own business so that I didn't have to sell anymore. That was the goal, long term. I didn't know how long that would take, but that was part of the vision, okay? So going back, I kept costs low, rented my apartment through the business. I strategically and strictly calls every day for 4 hours minimum, and I perfected the prospecting and the listing presentation as best as I can with my new brand. And then I added some really different marketing styles that would sort of rattle the industry, I guess, to help me stand out. And so in the beginning, it was just 6 listings a month. That's all I cared about, because my average sale price at the time was 800 grand. My average commission was 2.5%. So it meant that it was roughly a 20 grand commission. So 6 of them a month would be 120 grand in commission. And our costs were about 30 grand a month. So, it would be 90 grand left over after all expenses. I only paid myself 75 grand a year. So did my business partner. So I wasn't paying myself commission on my sales. It all went into the business. And then I just took a standard wage. So that's the difference going from a high performance sales agent. In my final year at the business I was prior, I had my biggest year, and my personal income was around $460,000 that year on my tax return, personal income. That's after GCI, after all expenses, like that's what I got. And at the time, that was 2015, that was quite good. That took me 9 years to get to that sort of level. And then I went from that. Think of the lifestyle I had as a 29-year-old earning $460,000. I could have anything. I was going on whatever holidays I wanted. I paid all my bills. I only had 2 smaller mortgages at the time, heaps of leftover money. So I was just saving heaps of money, but I saved it up for the business and I bought other investment properties with that. But I went from that to then 75 grand as a business owner. And here, people probably look at me, wow, he has his own business. Oh, he must be doing so well. Yeah, 75 grand. What can you do with that? Like I was literally went from the high life to baked beans on toast, because I knew that I have to sacrifice for a little while, make sure that I can get this business running before I start paying myself heaps, right? And that's what I did. And it was fun. You know what? Going back, like I didn't care at all. Like I actually wanted that, to test myself, to challenge myself, going from a guy earning heaps to then going back to nothing and doing this, like being in the trenches. That excited the hell out of me. And I liked the idea of starting from the bottom and fighting to get back to where I am, to that lifestyle of lucrative income. But that took a while. It didn't happen quickly. So as I said, first 6 months, all about listings and sales. And that's all I was focused on. Wasn't focused on recruiting or anything. And then 6 months, so 6 months down, started making some money. We'd made about $500,000 in the first 6 months out of sales and settlements. And then so we started to build up a bit of a bank account. And that's what you want to do. You want to build the company bank account to a point where you can go, what should I do with this money now? Right? You don't want to be at a point where all the time there's no money in the account, and so you never get to a point where you actually got to make decisions about money. So once we had like $300,000 sitting in the bank, we thought, me and my business partner were like, what are we going to do with this money now, like to grow the business? So we started strategizing about growing the business. Okay, well, what did we need from here? There's me and my business partner. I needed more help selling, so we got a sales associate for me. We got a lady on to help Dylan build the rent roll. So from there, we had 4 people on the team. So we'd invested in staff. And then there were 4 of us in this apartment. We needed a new premises. So then we spent some of the money upgrading the premises. And then so for the next year, we really hyper-focused in on me and my associates sending leads over to the rental team so that we could start growing the rental business. And a really important part about this rental business and me in sales is I don't have anything to do with the rentals. And it's a big mistake a lot of agents make. They start the rentals and they think, oh, I'll just do it myself as a little side hobby. And then, if it grows, I'll work it out then. Well, I didn't want to do it like that, because I knew I have to stay earning lots of money selling. Otherwise, everything falls apart. So I want nothing to do with rentals. That's my business partner's job, and he's going to run that. My job is just send leads over. Okay, that's the only tie that I want to have to the rental business. The big lesson in that is don't focus on too many things. I see that mistake. Agents trying to start a rent roll, they're trying to sell, they get busy doing rental work, and then their sales drop because they're getting so stressed out fixing a broken toilet when they should be hyper-focused on doing the activities that bring in sales. Don't get distracted from what you do and what makes money. hire people to take care of those things. Even if it's only a small amount of business, you shouldn't be doing it yourself. Hey guys, just quickly, if you're loving this content and you're a real estate agent that's already thinking what it might be like to have your own real estate business and brand, then check out the show notes. There'll be a link to our Plum Partners website where you can leave an inquiry and me or one of my team members will reach out. We help agents to create, run, and grow their own real estate business and brand so they can earn more and set up a better future for themselves. So get keen, get in touch. Now let's get back to the episode. So the next 18 months, we were outgrowing the unit. We got ourselves a premises and we were looking for something where we could have 12 people because I knew, look, if we're going to grow the rental business, we're going to need a couple of property managers and a BDM. That's going to be a team of 5. And I wanted to start recruiting salespeople, right? So as I said, my plan is to not always do all the sales myself or for this brand Plum Property just to revolve around me and my sales. So recruiting agents, or there's 2 ways you can grow your sales team. One is recruit other agents that are already established who work at other businesses, or 2, you can grow new agents from scratch by usually building them within a team in the business until they've got experience and then they can go out on their own in their own area. So I wanted to do both of those. I thought, well, if I have an associate and I rotate a new associate every year for me, or even 2 associates eventually, that's a good way to grow the new salespeople. And then I wanted to start actually targeting specific agents in my area who had a great reputation, who I think I could get along with, and try and talk to them about their future and what the future of Plum looks like and how they could be involved. And eventually, a couple of agents agreed to come and join me. And that's what happens. Again, it didn't happen straight away. It happened over a period of about 6 months of me, reaching out, staying in contact, going for lunch, eventually making an offer for them to join. And a lot of the time, those agents, when you talk to them at first, they're not interested in joining you. But then eventually they get to know you and like what you're doing. And then something happens at their current agency that they don't like. And then all of a sudden they're talking to you about possibly coming over. And then bang, all of a sudden I had, within 6 months, about 3 agents join Plum Property that were already established. And that really blew the business up because it went past me now. It wasn't just about Dan Lee. It was about these other great agents. And all of a sudden there's 4 times as many signboards out there. There's 4 times as many ads on realestate.com. There's 4 times as many marketing. And I could now focus on really refining my sales team. So what I wanted to do then when I had these other agents on is help them to grow, but then I needed to lead by example, okay? So I didn't want to drop sales yet because I felt I can't have these other agents on and not show them what it takes to be a great agent, right? Even though they know, I felt like it was my duty as a leader to really focus heavily on being the best sales agent that I could and outwork these agents so that, they're working on my team, but they go, wow, Dan really works hard. Like, I need to pick up my game. That's what I wanted to do for the next couple of years. So I just went even more hardcore on my sales. And that meant doubling down on another associate, moving from a team of 2 to a team of 3, eventually 4, and really increasing my sales. So I eventually was doing 1.5 to 2 million in GCI for my last couple of years sales. But that really encouraged my other agents to perform better, right? And when they perform better, I perform better. Then all of a sudden, Plum Property, the name, is just blowing up in the area because everyone was doing better. It was very, very high energy. So always keeping energy really high is another thing that I just made sure I had to do, right? There's no low days. It's just always on, right? And then the next 2 years, so now we've got a real business. I remember looking at my business in about 2018 and going, wow, we've got a proper business now because we had 3 or 4 really good agents plus myself, my own team, and now a rent roll probably sitting around 300. And from there, that's when, if you want to go bigger again, you've got to start really knuckling down on strategy. Because in the beginning, you're just sort of flying off the seat of your pants and you think, oh, let's just spend 10 grand on this and let's go and do this and I'll meet this guy. And I wasn't really planning anything. It was just kind of happening. But then when you get to this sort of middle size, the costs go up. There's a lot more to think about. There's a lot of more personalities in the business that you've got to look after. There's a lot more responsibility. There's less time to think about all of the things. So you really have to get strategic on having meetings with different departments, strategizing with your team members, having KPIs, and really getting hyper-focused in each area about how you're going to go to the next level. So, we started thinking, well, how do we get the rent roll from 300 to 600 in the next 2 years? What sort of prospecting do we need to do? What team members do we need to add? How much money in marketing do we need to spend? Do we need to upgrade the premises again? And really getting very strategic. So it became weekly meetings between the departments at that stage, which I never did before. When we were small, there were no scheduled meetings. We would just meeting in the hallway and have a chat about something and then, we just do it. But when you get to a certain size, you got to have strategic meetings, whether it's weekly, monthly, whatever, you figure it out. But these meetings, you talk about what's happened in the last month. What do you want to happen in the next month? What success did we have? What challenges did we have? How can we do better? Don't spend too long talking about shit. Just get to the point, get out the door and get on with it. Don't have useless meetings either. Don't have meetings that go for an hour and a half if they don't need to. Just make them hyper-focused and strategic. I also focused on, at this stage, well, how do I grow the sales team even more? And I thought, well, I've had great success building associates through my team and them becoming agents. So how can I build associates with the other agents in my office that would scale the amount of agents that we could actually grow? We've eventually had about 20 agents in this office. It's cut back a bit in the last couple of years to about 12. And, we've had some agents move on, some agents that were, doing really well in the hot market. And then when it sort of cooled off, weren't performing as well and decided to take new careers. But we have a really solid group of individuals now, like 12 really, really great agents in this office. And then, so we'll take you to, say, year 6 now. I'm doing about 2 million in GCI. I got a team of 4, and I decided at that point, we were doing really well at that stage. And I thought, well, what's next for me? This is the point where I said, okay, the business now is at a point where I could do something different. But again, it's going to take a really strategic move for me, because at the time, my income from my sales team was 30% of the overall business's income. Okay, because we had income from rentals, we had income from the other agents that were selling and the commission they would bring in and the agency split of that. And then there was my sales team. And my sales team made 30% of all the revenue of the business. So if I was going to give that up, then basically I was giving up 30% of revenue. That could almost kill a business. And it can in many cases. And what am I going to do? How am I going to replace that value to the business if I give up sales? So I didn't even know at this stage what I was going to do, but I knew at that point I've got to start thinking about ideas on what I could do to replace myself. And I didn't just go, I'm just not going to sell to it anymore because my business is here and I don't need to sell anymore. No, because that would only last so long before the money ran out. So I had to have a really strategic plan at this stage. How am I going to step down from sales and replace this $2 million of income that my team brings into the business? So that's when I just started. For a while, I just said, look, I'm not going to do it right now, but it's going to happen soon. So I just kept selling. And I was just looking at ideas out there, and I was talking with other agents, and I was thinking, what do I do? Do I franchise the business? Do I partner up with other agents in other areas and open more Plum Property offices? And that was the first thing I was going to do. And I talked to some agents who are really, really strong in other areas, great people, but I failed to pull the trigger on starting businesses with those agents because I really just felt that I didn't know them well enough, and probably vice versa with them. They didn't know me really well. We'd just sort of run into each other, started talking, came up with the idea of, hey, we should go into business together. And then when I went away and thought about it, I was like, you know what? A business, it's like a marriage. It really is. You're so bonded with this person and the way they do things that I felt like if I'm going to go into business with this person, I really need to know them more than over, a couple of lunches, because things can be all happy and roses in the beginning, but as soon as something goes sour, if things have to break up, it can get so ugly. And I just was kind of afraid of going into this heavy relationship with people that I didn't know really, really well. And so I thought, maybe I don't want to do that. And so I kept looking around, and I thought, what can I offer to people? Like, what am I good at? And I really sat down and I thought, well, I think I'm a good leader. I'm good with people. I'm calm. I'm hardworking. I'm good at leading by example. And what have I done that's good? Okay, well, I've done 15 years of sales. I can teach people that. What else have I done that's good? Well, I went from a high-performing agent, and then I threw it all away, and like this big position at an agency, threw my whole position away there and said, I'm going to start my own business and start that from scratch and build it to what we have today. That's a pretty good story. There's lots of agents out there that would love to do that. And so I started talking to agents out there, and so many of them wanted to start their own business, but they really didn't know how or what to do or who to do it with. And I thought, geez, I can really help there. And I saw other businesses out there that offer a similar kind of concept of helping agents to realize and maximize their potential by building their own business. And I thought, that's a space where I can play, because I've done that. And we've got that sort of reputation, and it's something that I would love to do. So that's when the idea started developing in my head about Plum Partners, which is the business I have today, where I thought there's so many agents out there around Australia that are really high performing. They're probably ready to make that next move, but they just don't know how to do it on their own, or they don't want to do it on their own. And I'm like, I want to partner with these agents. I want to make it happen for these agents. I want to set up the systems and show them what they need to do, and lead by example, and be in their corner and inspire them, and be the shoulder that they can lean on, the person that they can call to get inspiration or just run an idea past them, and I can have a team that can help run their business. And the idea started developing from there. And then all of a sudden, within a couple of months, we had the concept, we started building a system, and we started going for our first client. And now we're 2 years down the track with Plum Partners, and we have 35 partner businesses on board that we've helped these agents to create, run, and grow their own business. I'm so proud of my team for how far we've gone with that. So my plan to get out of sales was I needed something else to do to add value before I dropped that, right? Not just dropping it and then figuring it out what I'm going to do then, right? As my mum always said, you don't quit your job without having another job first. I knew what I was going to do as soon as I put down the tools. I was going to do this. Right. And also with my sales as well, one last tip is when I was about to hang up the boots in sales, I still had a massive database. I still had a massive pipeline of people to nurture. So I made sure that I had a team within my office that was going to service that really well, so that the office didn't miss out on any of those future sales. So that's really what it took to get to where I am today. As I said, I'm not even done. I'm not even close to done. But I can tell you, like, where I want to go. I have the vision now. It's even way bigger from when I started. I have this vision in my head about where I want Plum Partners and where I want Plum Property to be in 5 years' time from that. I don't know what it will end up being. Like, there's no guarantee. But I have this vision about what I need to do. And I guess what I've had to get really good at in the last couple of years is I've become so good at delegating. I've just realized, like, I can't do everything. I have very limited time, and there's people that can do most things I do way better than me. So I'm getting really focused on the things that I'm good at, and the things that I'm not good at, I'm making sure that other people are doing those for me. And that way I'm able to scale the skills that provide the most value to my business that I can do. This is what you should focus on in your first 6 years of owning your own real estate agency. First year, focus on nothing but getting as many listings and sales for you and your individual team. You got to make money. You got to build a bank account so that you can then go to the next level. Focus on sales, nothing else for the first year. Second year, you want to start recruiting. You want to recruit sales associates. You want to recruit other agents from other businesses. So get out there, have lunches, have recruitment nights, start getting some people into your business, training new ones up, and hopefully getting experienced agents on board so that you can build your business past yourself. Year 3, you should build a rent roll. Once you've got sales up and running, you got money in the bank, and you can invest in someone to run a rentals business for you, then make that investment. But don't try and do it yourself as the sales agent. It's not going to work. You have to be separated. Get someone else to do this for you. So build the sales first and then get onto the rentals. Year 4, time to get really strategic about how to scale the business. Okay, this means weekly or monthly meetings with each department. You want to look at what did we do last month that worked really well? Where did we have challenges? What are our KPIs to hit this month? What key people and activities do we need in order to get to the level that we are trying to achieve? In the first few years, you're flying off the seat of your pants. You're just making stuff happen. But when you get to that mid-level, you got to be strategic. There's a lot of stuff to think about. So you really need to be hyper-focused on strategy. Year 5, you want to go bigger on people and bigger on marketing. You need to really get your name out there. At this stage, you've got significant market share, but you need to absolutely dominate. You need to spend some money on some bigger marketing campaigns, attract more people into your business, and start preparing for an exit strategy out of sales yourself. Year 6, it's time to start looking at other avenues that you can grow the business so you can get other revenue into the business. This could be a finance arm. It could be a conveyancing arm. It could be another business that's tied to the business, another service that you offer. Other income in the business is going to allow you to step back from sales and focus on these new parts of the business that you can grow and then build your empire. How do you know if building a business is the right thing for you? Well, here's a tip. Do you hate people? Then don't get into business, because building a great business is about building a big, amazing team. And if you don't like dealing with a lot of different personalities and trying to get the best out of people all the time and dealing with a lot of people issues, then you're going to hate owning a big business. Do you hate people? If you do, you're probably going to hate having a big business, because having a big, successful business is more about being a great leader to a lot of people. So dealing with a lot of people issues, bringing people together and getting the best out of them. So really you become a big people manager. That's what a great business leader is. So ask yourself, if you're getting into business, do I like people? Because if the answer's no, then you probably don't want to have a big business. There are so many tasks that I need done in my day, but there are so many other people that can do them way better than me. How I've been able to scale myself in the last few years is hyper-focus on the things that I can add the most value to in my business. So at the moment, if I'm not doing one of 3 things, which is A, training and recruiting, B, social media and marketing, or C, recruiting for my business, then I'm just not doing it. I'm going to get someone else who can do it better and faster than me to help me execute those tasks, because I can't add that much value doing them. Don't waste your time doing tasks that someone else can do better for you. How to scale your skills and earn the most money in your career is by hyper-focusing on the things that you can add value most to your business. For me, if I'm not doing one of three things, that is A, training and mentoring, B, social media and marketing, or C, recruiting for my business, then I'm not doing it, because those are the things I'm best at, and anything else outside those three tasks, someone else can do it better for me, and I can get more value by paying someone to do that. I hope you just get any tips that make your career slightly better, help you get that next listing, help you get that next paycheck, and live the best life in real estate that you can. Thanks for getting keen and sticking with me, and I'll see you on the next episode. Thank you for tuning into the Get Keen podcast. If today's episode inspired you, please show your support with a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And make sure you subscribe on your favorite platform too. Don't stop there. Join our community of forward thinkers by connecting with me on social media at Dan_Lee_Plum. I'm looking forward to exploring more strategies and insights with you on your journey to the top. Until next time, keep getting keen.